Hey guys, where are you? David DeFranco here from daviddefranco.com, as well as twitter.com/David DeFranco. Follow me. My link is right below. Now, I emphasize that because today's video wouldn't be possible without that. Well, unless I posted my Ask Me Anything requests on Facebook or Instagram or Google Plus or Elo. Who the freak uses Elo? But seriously guys, welcome to another Ask Me Anything video. It's actually been quite a while since I've done my last one, which was, I believe, like a week or so before Christmas. So let's jump into it because I have 16 questions to get through from you guys. So let's begin. If I can slide to unlock. Question number 1 comes from Batman. Is it the real Batman? It might be. Apple fanboy for Liff. I guess he ran out of characters. But hey, he's an Apple fan, so he's okay with me. Anyway, Apple fanboy for life says, will you ever collab with Barnacules or Chris Perlo? It would be totally awesome and epic. Thanks. Maybe one day. I mean, I hope to. Perhaps at some kind of event like Gnome Decks. I hear Chris is rebooting Gnome Decks, so perhaps I'll go to that sometime in the near future. Or maybe even CES one year. You never know. I'm young, so I have plenty of time. Next question comes from Rizik Hussein, also known as Foxtrot4978, and Rizik says, what is the weirdest website you've ever designed? Okay, now this one's a bit more tough to answer. I've created a lot of websites, and while nowadays I'm actually a lot more focused on the websites that matter, such as Brand Rocket, Squarespace Summit, Ad45.com. I'm going to kind of do a reboot of that in the near future, as well as the FrancoGaming.com. But easily my biggest focus nowadays is BrandRocket.com. But going back quite a while, maybe like 2008, 2009, there was a website called StellarAdverts.com. Okay, so if you recognize that name, kudos to you. That means you've been around for the long haul, so thank you. And yes, Mr. Banther, I'm thinking of you right now because I know you're like actually one of the only 2 or 3 people that enjoyed that site. So I guess Stellar Adverts was kind of my weirdest site. It's like Ad45.com, but instead of buying a little block, you buy a star. Hence the name StellarAdverts.com. It's actually a great name. It's just, I think I was a little ahead of the times with my concept, and it never really caught on because I didn't have the social media presence then that I do nowadays, so I didn't really have anyone to market it to. So there you go, StellarAdverts.com. It's probably the weirdest website I've ever designed. And maybe PlugYourTube.com. I don't know if any of you recall that. If you do, comment right below. Kudos if you do. Alright, anyway, getting to the next question comes from Dawn. I think your N key got stuck. At Dawn_ says, have you gotten into Sons of Anarchy or Game of Thrones yet? No. And no. And I'm ashamed to say that because I'm definitely a media freak. I watch a movie pretty much every night. I'm always watching TV shows. I'm still obsessed with The Office. And yes, I still watch that pretty much every day of my life. Just watched it last night, actually. But in terms of Sons of Anarchy, I've heard it's good. And I actually talked to some random dude at Walmart one night while we were looking at the DVDs, or Blu-rays in this case. And we were talking about TV shows like The Walking Dead, Breaking Bad, and whatever. And yes, I have seen Breaking Bad. Phenomenal show. And well, Sons of Anarchy naturally came up in the conversation, and I think he said it was good, so perhaps that's my next show. In terms of the Game of Thrones, I'm interested in watching it, but for some reason I'm having trouble motivating myself to actually begin. Because I do have HBO Go, so I don't really have any excuses to not watch it. So comment right below, is the Game of Thrones something I would actually enjoy? Next question comes from Water Janeson, hopefully I said that right, or Water, like water. Also known as the_Xylon. He says, what's your view on the Apple Watch? Because I saw a video of yours on your ideas of an iWatch. Did your opinion change? My opinion is still pretty much the same. I'm very interested in the Apple Watch. I'm just not convinced that it's for me yet because, look at this. The only thing I have on my wrist is this Intel wristband, which is now completely naked because I always wear my wristbands and eventually they just wear out. But that's just my point. I only have wristbands on me. I've never been a watch person. I might never be a watch person. But I'm really, really hoping the Apple Watch can change that. So, we'll see. Moving on. Next question comes from Brad Parkin. Brad says, why did you become so passionate about Apple and their products? I think I'm passionate about Apple because they're excellent in design. They have great marketing and great advertising, and I just really admire the culture behind their products. For instance, if you explore apple.com today, I guarantee you'll come across at least a few inspirational videos regarding how Apple products have changed the world. Now, some people may say, well, David, that's dramatic. Nothing can really change the world in terms of technology. And if you actually say that, you are crazy in the head, because things like this, the iPad, have dramatically changed the world, especially in terms of education. And the iPhone has forever changed the world. The smartphone market would not be what it is today without the iPhone. Love or hate Apple, you cannot deny that. And finally, the Mac. The Mac in general. I am obsessed with Macs. It's a different feeling. When you use OS X, you feel at home. I know that might sound kind of weird saying it out loud, but I feel so much more comfortable using OS X than I do Windows. Now, with that said, I use Windows 8 pretty much on a regular basis now with my HP Stream 11, but it's still not as intuitive and drag and drop friendly as OS X is. OS X, it just works the way you want it to. You know, despite some bugs in Yosemite. But still, honestly, Yosemite is probably one of my favorite OS X updates in a long time. But anyway, I could talk about this forever. I just love Apple. I love the passion behind their products. I love the culture. I love their retail stores, despite people saying that the retail stores would flop. You're a flop. But yeah, Apple, they're doing great, and they had their best quarter yet. So they're not going away anytime soon. Next question comes from Grant Minter, also known as Grant5560. What do you cherish most in your YouTube career? Probably the flexibility and the freedom that I have every single day. I mean, I could go to bed at 4:30 in the morning, of which I did last night, and I can wake up late. Now, I don't wake up late because I'm lazy. I wake up late because I stay up late doing my work. For instance, like I just said, 4:30 in the morning last night. I wasn't goofing off, just having fun with video games. I was working on my personal website redesign while enjoying a podcast from Frono's Photo. You probably know who he is. So last night was very, very productive. So I guess what I enjoy most is my freedom. Doing what I want and doing it when I want. And well, finally doing it how I want. I hate the idea of answering to other people. I like doing things my way. And I'm going to do that for as long as I possibly can. Awesome, awesome question. So thank you. Next question comes from Ahmed Kazi, also known as Gmail Kazi. No, Gmail Kazi. I apologize. Either way, they say, why do you only use an iPhone? Why not Nexus or other smartphones? I'm just not interested. Honestly, I'm not interested. And I know that's horrible coming from a tech reviewer. I'm not a tech reviewer. I'm a tech vlogger. I just don't care. I don't care what Android has to offer. I really don't care even what Windows Phone has to offer. My iPhone and my iPad, they work well enough, and I love the integration from iOS into OS X and vice versa. I'm extremely happy with the Apple ecosystem, so I really have no reason to look elsewhere. That sounds cocky and arrogant of me, but it's the truth. I'm never really afraid to speak my mind. There's just nothing out there that honestly interests me. But still, great question. Alright, this next question comes from Ashley. Ashley likes circles, it seems. Ashley from twitter.com/supportingroman. And they say, would you be willing to eat a bowl of crickets for $40,000? Something just happened in my living room. Yes, because apparently it's common in San Francisco. And yes, I've actually researched that before. It's very interesting that people actually enjoy crickets, and apparently they're pretty good and nutritious. So for $40,000, hell yeah. I mean, if I can pay off my student loans in one shot, then why not? Give me some crickets. I didn't mean literally, like, give me the cricket sound. I meant, like, give me the food version of crickets. Come on. Nolan Hater, you're up next. Also known as twitter.com/Nolan Hater. Good job, David. Nolan says, are you addicted to Peggle 2? If so, what level are you? Dude, I beat Peggle 2. So I guess you could say I'm a proud Peggle 2 addict. I mean, I haven't played it in at least a week because I've been putting more time into, well, my work. But if I have some free time, I usually play Far Cry 4. I'm trying to get through that campaign so I can focus on my other games. But yes, Peggle 2 I put a lot of time into. I beat all the levels. I didn't beat all the optional objectives, but I did beat all the levels and all the main objectives, including the DLC. The DLC was just phenomenal. Easily worth like the $3 each I paid or whatever it was. But in my opinion, easily worth at least $5 each. So, awesome game. And if you appreciate physics like I do, definitely check it out. Matthew Musselwhite says, well, first of all, twitter.com/MJMusselwhite88. Matthew says, any advice to aspiring freelancers? Now, by freelancers, I'm assuming you mean like in any kind of creative field, whether you're doing video production, graphic design, photography, or even like blogging. Because, well, blogging is kind of like a freelance market because you're doing it on your own and it's your own time and you could blog for others and get paid for it. But in terms of graphic design, my best advice is just get started. Put yourself out there, start out affordable, but don't go too low. Just go low enough where it seems like you're experienced, and I'm sure you are, but we can always gain more experience. Then through that experience, you can get clients on board. Because honestly, I started my graphic design career. I mean, I don't really do it that much nowadays. I'm more into video, and I do my own websites and designs and whatever for myself. But I started out by posting cheap ads on Craigslist. Yes, Craigslist. Like a logo design for like $100, which is very, very, very low by today's standards. But hey, it worked. I got some designs on board for my portfolio, which I haven't really ever made public for some reason. It's just, I don't know. I just mainly work with web graphics, so the work you see on brandrocket.com and Squarespace Summit and my personal website, that's my portfolio right there, because I'm mostly designing websites nowadays with platforms like Squarespace and WordPress. I mean, they give me the tools, I just gotta build things with those tools. So that's mostly what I'm involved in nowadays. But my best advice, just get started, start affordable, and just advertise yourself. Do not be afraid to market your work and yourself in general, because don't forget, you are a brand. And the stronger your brand can grow, the more clients you will get on board. It's only natural. So good luck, Matthew, and I hope this advice helps. Next question comes from, if I can frickin' swipe, Anthony Menegone. Anthony is an awesome supporter of mine. He's always tweeting me. He's always liking my videos. So Anthony, thank you so much for everything. And he can be found at twitter.com/RedSoxS2009. And Anthony says, what is one thing you'd like to see in the next Mac Pro update? Great question, and honestly the first thing that always comes to mind is more USB ports. For some reason the Mac Pro doesn't have enough USB ports. What's it have, 4? I'm pretty sure it has 4. But with that said, it's honestly not a huge deal. I don't find myself crying about it at night because I use an external USB hub and that does great, and that's actually kind of more convenient because I can just plug in my SD card adapters into the front of my hub rather than going behind my monitors, behind my Mac Pro. So more USB ports. Oh, you know what? One thing I would really like to see is the option of customizing the Mac Pro shell. I mean, it's a beautiful piece of hardware, but sometimes I wish I could put like a transparent shell on it. And yes, I realize that concept has been made public, not officially by Apple, but some artists have rendered an actual clear shell for the Mac Pro, and it looks freaking hot as hell. So I'm hoping Apple eventually introduces official support for third-party Mac Pro shells. Because as of right now, it's not as easy as just making a shell. There's actually some kind of sensor on there where the Mac Pro will not run unless something is activated on that shell. Because if you try to turn the Mac Pro on, as it's nude, it will not turn on. So let's hope that happens someday. But as of right now, I am extremely happy with my Mac Pro. It's running my 3 monitors beautifully, and it just handles everything I do very well. Now, I will say it needs more RAM, but that's up to me. I'm going to double its RAM because, well, I'm actually maxing that out on a daily basis. Yes, every single day between Photoshop and Final Cut Pro 10, I'm finding myself needing more RAM. But great question, Anthony. I don't know why it doesn't say I follow you. I thought I follow you on Twitter. Either way, thank you. All right, next question comes from Christian Severin over at twitter.com/cseverink. Christian says, David, if you should say so yourself, what is your biggest strength as a human being? I guess my motivation and my ambition to succeed in this world and not really caring what others think. I mean, I may comment on hate here and there because I hate the dislike button. It's one of the worst features ever invented in my opinion. Just, it's freaking terrible. Because in my opinion, it doesn't offer real feedback. Anyone who clicks the dislike button and they don't leave comment below, you're a coward. And you're a waste of space in this world. I know that's very, very harsh, but you need to check yourself. So anyway, my biggest strength is definitely my motivation. And like I said, my ambition to succeed. And probably because I'm so energetic. I mean, I am extremely energetic. I could get 2 to 3 hours of sleep and stay up for 24 hours the next day if I had to. I mean, look at Vegas. I was up for 27 hours straight, practically, besides passing out in the plane for like 2 minutes, but that doesn't count. So, I guess a combination of all those traits. But hey, great question, Christian. I really appreciate it. Okay, this next question comes from, I'm really talking fast here, Jendel Kenner over at twitter.com/GVLLVmine. Jendel says, where do you see the next generation of gaming going? Do you think VR or anything else will become more prominent? Virtual reality looks very interesting, but in my opinion, it's never going to become the standard. It's always going to be that kind of alternative way of playing something that's more fun, but you kind of get tired of it after 30 minutes. Because me, as a longtime gamer since I was only like 2, 3 years old, whatever, I want to do this. I just want to chill and just have an actual physical controller in my hand and enjoy my games. Is that so hard? And some people think that this is the last generation of actual video game consoles. I have to completely disagree. Mark my words, we will have an actual console for the next PlayStation and the next Xbox. The next Nintendo console, I don't know. Nintendo is very, very unpredictable, which is actually kind of a good thing because they're the only company doing something truly unique with their console. That's not to say that PS4 and Xbox One are bad, because I love them to death. I mean, I've been playing them a lot more than I play my Wii U. But anyway, getting to the point, virtual reality, I don't ever see it catching on. I think of it as like watching, you know, movies and TV shows in 3D. It's cool for like 30 minutes, but after a while you're like, what am I doing? I just want to chill and enjoy what I'm watching like this. I don't need anything on my face. But don't get me wrong, I'm very interested in VR technology. It's just I don't see it becoming the norm, that's all. But excellent question. Noah Bondonis over at twitter.com/galacticstriker. Noah says, are you thinking of getting the new Nintendo 3DS XL? Perhaps. It's a really, really impressive upgrade and piece of technology in general. It's just I don't play my current 3DS that much as it is. I'm primarily a a home console gamer. But while I'm on the go, like camping, I'll bring my Vita and my 3DS. But as of right now, I'm not that interested in owning one. But perhaps I'll get one in the near future when I'm outside more, like camping or Seaside Heights. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Brandon over at twitter.com/br8d4on says, how much preparation goes into making your weekly videos? Now by weekly, I'm guessing you mean my weekend vlog. A few hours, because my average weekend vlog is about an hour long. And importing that content, oh shit, hold on. Sorry about the language. Alright, we good? My T4i was flashing. I was hitting the time limit. Well, this is a very long AMA video. My next one will definitely have to be shorter. So the average weekend vlog is about an hour long. Importing those clips, usually at least 100 clips every week, takes like 10 minutes. My Mac Pro imports them like a boss. And car just went by. But the actual editing process takes at least a couple hours because I have to, you know, obviously watch it myself. I have to splice, cut, edit, all that stuff, and then preview the vlog, which doesn't seem like hard work. But when you're limited on time that night or you know, the next morning, it gets pretty tight. And sometimes you don't want to miss an error, so you're kind of forced to watch the weekend vlog. Hence, my doing that every single week. And then finally, I upload it, which takes about an hour or two depending on the size of the file. And then of course, YouTube has to process it, which takes a while as it is. So the whole process every week with everything combined, I would say maybe 5 to 6 hours. Just, you know, hey, I mean, it's a lot of work, but you guys seem to enjoy it. And my Patreon campaign really helps a lot because it just adds a lot of value to my weekly work. So, great question, Brandon. Next question, oh, and actually the final question, thank God, because this one's really, really long, just this video in general, comes from Ali Gad over twitter.com/AliGad1239. Ali says, what gives your family such a close bond? And have there been any tense moments between your family? Well, first of all, of course there have been tense moments, you know, between me and my dad, me and my mom, me and Kristen my dad, Kristen and my mom and dad, whatever, because we're a family. Families fight. It's perfectly normal. But in my opinion, fighting is a good thing because it only makes your relationship with other people stronger. You can figure out other people's flaws and you can avoid from making mistakes related to those flaws in the future. It's no different than having a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I mean, it's perfectly normal to fight with them because people have their differences. And if you're perfect all the time, that just doesn't feel right. I mean, I know people like the idea of perfection, but if you were truly, honestly perfect with others, life would be kind of dull. But in terms of the first part of the question you said, what gives your family such a close bond? We've just always been that way. I'm a very family-oriented person, which is why it blows my mind when I see people say, oh, you went to Vegas with your mom? You go camping with your family? Well, of course I do. Why wouldn't I spend time with those who took 18, 19 years or so to raise me and form me into the person that I am today? If you are truly like embarrassed or you're unable to hang out with your family and just have fun together, I honestly feel bad for you. You really need to get your family morals straight, and you just need to, prioritize. Because this sounds downright depressing and morbid, but one day my parents are going to be dead. And I dread that day. I can't even imagine a life without my mom or dad. It's so freaking sad to think about. So if I'm not going to hang out with them today, or next week or next month, and God forbid they, you know, move on to demise, I'm trying to word this carefully, in like 30 years, and I'm there at their funeral one day saying, I wish I would have spent more time with my family, well, it's too late then. I don't get a second chance. So obviously I'm going to spend time with them, and I think that translates into our family in general. We just love having fun together. We love spending time together, and that's why I love camping in the summer. Just spending time with my mom and dad in hunter pants and jammy on. It's fun. Family is extremely important to me. Not everybody can understand that because, believe me, I know I'm extremely lucky. I'm extremely fortunate. So I think sometimes those hate comments, those people don't truly understand what they're saying because they can't understand what it's like to have a close family. You know, I mean, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way. It's just we're all different. We're all raised differently. And well, honestly, that's kind of what makes life interesting, and that's why I think a lot of people enjoy my vlogs. I mean, I was just talking to some friends the other day on Facebook, saying that they enjoy my Christmas videos because my Christmas traditions with, you know, my family are different than their Christmas traditions. And then another friend said, well, their family's not as close, you know, just in general. So that's why they enjoy my family vlog so much. And honestly, that really means a lot to me. So yeah, that's all I'm trying to say. You know what? This is a huge topic, and maybe I'll save this for another video because I've been meaning to kind of rant about this. Because I cannot stand when I see, and I'm assuming it's kids, I cannot stand when I see kids online dissing me simply because I like to spend time with my family. Like, who the hell are you to judge? So maybe one day I will make a video on that. But anyway, wow, things got deep. Things got real deep, and this is a freaking long AMA video. But to everybody who was involved in this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you did make it to the end of this video, please like that video right below. It really does make a big difference, and it shows that you actually watched the entire thing. I'm trying to get these stats going. I'm trying to find out who was actually enjoying my content. So please, if you can, click that like button. It goes a long way. As always, your support is much appreciated, and I will see you in my next video. Peace.